PowerPoint Morph can be used in some pretty impressive, stunning, and slick ways to create really cool visual effects in your presentations. The best part is it's really easy to do. In this video, we'll look at 3 practical PowerPoint Morph examples, and by the end, you'll have some ideas on how to use Morph in your presentations. For our first example, we'll show you how to build this. Now, it may look simple, but to make this effect, there's a bunch of moving parts. But the important part is that even though this example may take a few minutes to build, everything we cover here will apply to the other examples in this video, so please don't skip ahead. It's nothing difficult, rather a sequence of steps, so be patient. It'll all pay off. Let's start with a blank slide. Then, insert a rectangle that covers the whole slide, and how about we change the color to a light gray? Then draw a rounded rectangle shape at the top half of the slide, and let's remove the shape outline. Then go under Shape Fill, Picture, from File, and how about we go with this one? Okay, so it appears the picture is a little bit distorted and compressed. We'll need to fix this, and we can do that by clicking on Picture Format, Crop, Fill. From there, you can move the image around, resize if you like. For today, this will work. Next, how about we go up here and change the image to black and white? All right, now the important part when applying the morph effect across slides is making sure that the object has the same name preceded by 2 exclamation points, because this will force the morph to work correctly. When you see it, you'll understand. The first thing to do is to turn on the selection pane, and we can do that by going up here under Shape Format, then click Selection Pane, and over here on the right, we'll see all the objects on our slide. So how about we click on the picture and go with a name like this. Next, let's add another rectangle on top of the picture. Change the color to a dark gray, and how about we make the transparency a little lighter, say something like this. And let's give that object a name as well. Next, let's draw another rectangle, but this time we're going to resize it so it looks like a line. Once that's complete, let's go ahead and rename that as well. From there, let's add a white rounded rectangle at the bottom of our slide. How about we change the outline color to something like this? And in this case, I won't rename this shape, but in real life, please feel free to do so if you wish. Next up is to add our text, and to save time, I'm going to speed things up while I insert 2 text boxes, making the first one at the top white with a shadow effect, and then add another text box in the lower portion. That's going to be nothing special, just regular text. Okay, now let's go down here and zoom out a bit because we're going to add some objects that are outside of the slide's boundaries. The reason we're doing this is when we apply the morph effect, it will look like they're flying in. So again, to save time, I'll speed up the video and walk you through what's going on. Let's start by drawing a rounded rectangle and change the color, add the text that we want. We'll go with a shadow effect as well. Next, let's click on Insert Icons, do a search for an arrow, then place the arrow on top of the button, which can be a little aggravating, so be patient. Next, let's add a text box below the button and add some text. Then, click and drag to select everything. Let's do a copy and paste. Then we'll move everything over here to the right. Okay, now the crucial step when using the morph effect is to duplicate your slide. For that, we can either right-click and choose Duplicate Slide or press Ctrl D. After we duplicate the slide, we just need to rearrange this new slide into how we want it to look. To begin, let's click on both text boxes and delete them. And how about we drag this line down here to the bottom of the slide? And you'll notice something interesting is happening because it looks like the line is underneath the white rectangle. In truth, it is, and this is because of the layering of our shapes. To fix this, we can go over to the selection pane and drag the white line to the top, which will make it visible. So the big takeaway here is there might be times you'll need to rearrange your objects to make them display the way you intend. Now that we can see our line, how about we resize it down a bit? Next up, as a precaution, how about we move our white rectangle down a few layers just to make sure nothing gets covered up. Okay, now let's click on the dark rectangle, move it over here, resize it, then click on Shape Format, Shape Fill, Picture, from File, and how about we go with this one? Then, just like before, click on Crop, Fill, then drag or resize to what you want. Let's change the color to black and white while we're at it. Then, for this black and white image, let's resize it so it's the same size as the other one. Then click on Picture Format, Crop, Fill. Now we could change the entire picture if we want, but for today, let's just move it over a bit. Almost done. Let's go down here and select the objects that are off the slide and place them where we want them to be. So let's move this one up here, and then we'll move the second one up here. All right, now for the final step. Go over here on the left-hand side, select both of your slides by using the Control key, then click on Transitions, Morph. Now for the moment of truth. Let's run our slideshow and see what we get. All right, check it out. Now, that looks pretty slick. Granted, a decent amount of legwork went into making it, but the payoff was worth it. Okay, our next example will go a lot faster because a lot of what we covered in the first example will transfer into this one. All right, let's walk you through the process. Starting from a blank slide, let's begin by drawing a circle about yay big, then move it into the lower right corner. Next, let's add our picture, in this case the dogs. So we'll click on Insert, Pictures, from File, and choose the ones we want. While we're at it, we can resize them and then position them on the circle. We can rotate them as well. For the logo, I'll just add a circle, recolor it, then insert an icon, layering it on top of the small circle, then change the outline color, select both shapes, right-click and group them. Next, let's add our text boxes. We can make one of them bold, and the other is just standard text. Okay, the next step is to give our objects a name with the 2 preceding exclamation points. If need be, we can turn on our selection pane and then rename them. Again, since you've seen this, I'll speed the video up, and you can pause this if you want to see the names that were used. Now we can go over here and duplicate our slide, then reposition things where we want them to be. How about we move these 3 off the slide, leaving just the golden retriever, and we can resize him, position him, say, right here. And how about we edit our text as well? How about we drag the logo down here into lower left-hand corner and resize it a bit, just for kicks and grins. Next, let's duplicate the slide. And for this one, let's move the shape into the upper right corner. Drag the retriever off the slide, and then move our Dutch Shepherd onto the slide, resizing and rotating him as needed, making sure to change the text as well. Next, we can duplicate the slide again. And how about we move the circle to the lower right corner, drag the Dutch Shepherd off the slide, bring up the doodle, resize him a bit, change the text. Now let's duplicate our slide one more time, move the circle to the upper right corner, drag the doodle off the screen, drag up the German Shepherd, placing him how we want him to look, then change the text. All right, so the final step is to select all of our slides. Once that's done, let's go up and click on the Transitions tab and apply the Morph transition. Once again, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's run our slideshow and see what we get. Okay, you gotta admit, that's pretty cool. You gotta like that. Just how you're going to like this video. All right, so for our final effect, we're going to combine the Morph effect with another PowerPoint feature that often trips people up, which is the subtraction effect, to create a slide that looks like this. Starting with a blank slide, let's draw a rectangle that covers the whole slide. And the next step is to add some smaller rectangles, which will eventually be the see-through portion of our slide. So to save some time, I'm going to speed things up while adding them in. And since this is a demo, please pardon any spacing or alignment that's off, since precision is not really that important. The only part you need to know is I'm pressing Ctrl D to duplicate the shapes and changing the color to white so it's easier to see. Okay, once you're done arranging them, the next step is to use the subtraction feature, which is something people might struggle with, but let's make sure that doesn't happen to you. The key to making this work is to select the base shape first. Hold your Shift key down, then select all the other small rectangles. Once that's done, go up and click on Shape Format, Merge Shapes, Subtract. Now, when we click and drag, the whole shape will move. Next, let's add our picture by choosing Insert, Picture, from File. Select the one we want, resize it so this grid is covered. And how about we go over here to the selection pane, move the picture below the shape, give it a name, making sure to include the preceding 2 exclamation points. Next, click on the shape, then change the color to white. Then how about we draw a narrow, rounded rectangle at the top, change the color, maybe apply a shadow effect, add some text, cruise over here, give the object a name. So our slide looks like this. From here, let's go over and duplicate our slide. Then click on the picture. Then go up and click on Picture Format, change Picture, this device, and how about we go with this one? Then just for kicks and grins, how about we change the color of our shape and change the color of this narrow rectangle as well? Go over here, select our slides, go ahead and apply the morph transition, run the slideshow, and there we go. Not too shabby. Now, if you're interested in some awesome PowerPoint templates at ridiculously low prices, you can check them out in the description. And now here's another video.